Okay, so I'm joined by Sally this morning. Yep, still morning. And Sally is the business owner of AYR Studio. So I'll hand over to Sally if you'd like to tell us what it is you do, the services you offer, and sort of how long you've been in business for.
Yeah, hi. We've been running, we were called Design Room Cornwall, and we rebranded quite recently to AYR Studio. We offer graphic design, web design and photography at the sort of core level of what we do. We've been running coming up to 12 years, which is a bit frightening, but
awesome.
coming up the end of August will be our 12th year. So it's it's all going good. So
yeah, a celebration for you at the end of August then.
Maybe, yeah. We'll see how the bank balance is.
Yeah, fantastic. And then do you have a team that are based in an office? Are you sort of working remotely, or you have an office home?
We have, I'm home today just for some peace and quiet to do this, but and I do often work from home because I've got a really nice home office set up.
Yeah.
But there's actually just two of us in the studio. We've always just been two of us. We're just friends that got together and put our heads together to start the business, just as a way of trying to do what we loved doing, which was creative work. So that's how we founded our studio. We've got a studio in the middle of Truro, and like I say, we've never expanded as a team. We tend to work with a lot of freelancers, to fill any gaps if we need some support on bigger projects and things like that. But at our core, we are just the two of us, and that's how it stays most of the time. And we've stayed friends all the time as well.
Yeah, that's good. Fantastic. And then, so in terms of your clientele, do you have are they predominantly based here in Cornwall, or do you have sort of national or global clients that you sort of work with?
We have on the odd occasion worked with clients in America and around the UK, but it is predominantly Cornwall. It just seems to be how it works. And and it's nice we always feel it's nicer to be able to work face to face with people, but we will work with anybody, but it just tends to be Cornwall most of the time.
Fantastic. And then do you cover sort of a wide range of services? I mean, do you like hospitality, food and drink? You have lots of clients.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we don't specialize in anything specifically, but we tend to, I think we love our food and drink anyway, so we tend to go towards a lot of hospitality work. I do a lot of food and drink photography. That's what I do in the business. Is the majority is the photographic side. But having said that, we do work with medical companies. We've worked with a blockworks. We've worked, with quite industrial sort of things as well. And that's always interesting just to have that diverse range of clients. Really, it's sort of But we always tend to come back to hospitality as our core, really, I guess.
Yeah. It must be very rewarding when you're sort of walking down the street or going into a shop and then you see your work on someone's packaging or something.
It is, and things like just recently had a photo turn up in the Sunday Times magazine, and it was like, it's awesome. Really exciting, because it's big, that's quite a big deal for us. So it was exciting.
Definitely something to shout about for sure.
When we remember to.
Fantastic. And then you say, Sally, so you've been running for 12 years.
Yes.
How did your business take a turn through the pandemic? How was that for you? Any sort of implications or actions you had to make as of that?
Yeah, I mean, when it first came, it was the end of March, wasn't it, 2020, when the first lockdown came, we pretty much closed down the studio, and we furloughed ourselves until probably the August of that year, just because I think because of the nature of our work with a lot of hospitality businesses, it wasn't there. There was barely anything there. So we closed down for a while, did other things in the meantime, like volunteer work and stuff like that. But it was a really, as for everybody, it was a really difficult time because you just don't know what's going to come back and when it's going to come back. So it's been really weird.
And then how did you find the recovery process, sort of getting back into work again?
Great. I think having that extended time off in a weird way made me more enthusiastic to get back to work, because I like to have something to do, and having that sort of structure of getting back to the office or getting out on photo shoots was just when you can't do it, you want to do it. So
of course,
it sort of made us sort of raring to go, so and then yeah, there's a few sort of false starts, wasn't there, with other lockdowns and things, but when it opened up again last sort of springtime, it just really did take off for us last summer. So it was really good.
Fantastic. And then, so you've been a business owner, I guess your own boss for 12 years, but prior to that, were you an employee within the industry?
My background is hospitality. So I was working in a cafe, and I was working in a farm shop on sort of butchery counter and cheese counter and things like that. So I've always, for years and years worked in food and drink. So it's where my love of food and drink comes from, I guess. So.
Yeah, where your roots go back to.
A little bit,
yeah. Since you've sort of been a business owner, have there any sort of main challenges that you've had to face that you obviously wouldn't have had to do just as an employee?
Trying to keep things running, I suppose. Trying to make sure you can pay yourself a wage. You're not relying on someone else. You've got to generate that work in order to make the business run and make yourself survive, really. So yeah, that's probably the biggest challenge. And like anything, you have the feast and famine of really good times, and then you have a slump. Sure. And trying to find the energy to get back out of a slump again can be quite challenging. But but it's what you sign up for, I think, with self-employment, maybe.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And ultimately you've got that freedom of thinking, oh, I might take a day off today, or things like that. So
yeah. And then obviously here in Cornwall, we're very seasonal. We're coming up to us, so we're in our summer now, which is our busy period. But how does that transpire to your work? Do you have busier seasons or busier times throughout the year where you've got a lot of work coming in, and then perhaps quiet phases?
Yeah, we always find sort of February it starts to really get going again, up until about now, really, and then slumping through the summer, which is actually just begun. So the 6 weeks of summer is always quite quiet for us. There's bits and pieces to do, but it's quite nice to have an opportunity to work on your own business and catch up on things that you have pushed aside because you've been busy with other people. And over the years you get to know that, and try not to get too nervous about not having that work coming in, and trying to keep the faith that it will come back in September.
Yeah, of course. I can imagine the build up to Christmas. I don't know why, but in my head that would be a busier time for you, sort of people getting Christmas packaging and photos.
Can be.
Fantastic. And then sort of going back to your previous years, is there any advice or any words of wisdom that you'd have given to Sally today?
I think the thing that's remained most important, and I did have to have a think about this when I got your email, and I think the most important thing is just to keep going every day. Like you can take that freedom of having a day off if you're running your own business, but even when times are not so good, just showing up and cracking on with your own work or personal projects and just keep moving, for me, it's been the biggest thing. Just even when you just think, why am I getting out of bed this morning? But it's what when I think just love what we do, so that's what keeps you getting out of bed in the morning, even if there's nothing specific to get out of bed for. So just keep going.
When you were working at the Butchery Council or in the food and hospitality industry, did you envision that you were going to have your own business in years to come? Is that always something you wanted to do?
It's really hard to say. I always wanted to work in creative industry somehow. Wasn't ever sure how I'd make it happen. But yeah, sometimes it's just chance encounters and meeting up with Emma, who I run AYR Studio with, and just it started over coffee and a conversation about where we are in our lives. And sometimes you can't really envision it. I think sometimes life just throws stuff up at you. And you go with it a little bit, and I'm glad it did.
Yeah, then it sounds like it was that snowball effect, like you had a coffee and then that transpired into what can we do and how can we make this work. Yeah,
and slowly we have. So
yeah, well, and hopefully you've never looked back, so it's 12 years later and you seem to be doing well. Yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah, fantastic. And then is there any advice or what would you say to somebody who was in your position, say 13, 14 years ago, thinking about going into business?
I would just say if you've got I think you need a certain mindset to do it. You have to kind of accept that you might not always get paid that month, or you have to make a few sacrifices. And I think if you can just learn to absorb those things and you've got that drive in you to do it, just give it a go. I mean, even if you fail, at least you tried. So just give it a go. And I think if you believe in something enough, then you'll find ways of making it work. So
I like that. Give it a go. Just go for it.
Give it a go. Yeah, it's pretty simple, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Did it take you a while to sort of start paying yourself a wage at the beginning, or was that something you always prioritized?
I'm just trying to think, actually. It's quite a long time ago now. Yes, it did. We were quite lucky, actually, because Emma brought a client along from her previous job. So we were lucky that we started with something that was quite regular work. So yes, we were pretty good to start with. And then when it's just trying to gain that momentum, I think, to keep being able to pay yourself. And there's definitely been months when we've gone without, and just trying to, again, just keep going, really. But it all works out in the end. So
yeah, of course, fantastic. And then finally, I guess, talking about the future, where do you see yourself and AYR Studio in 5 years' time, for example?
Gosh, I think we'd just like to, I don't see us expanding in terms of employees or anything like that. I think it will just remain the two of us. I'd like to probably have a few more jobs that offered a bit more stability, sort of that went on into the future a little bit. Everything's quite month by month at the moment, or it always has been. But I guess that's the ultimate goal, is to have those jobs like a contract or something that would see you, in 6 months' time, you're going to be okay, or even a year's time, you've got that sort of bit more certainty. So I think that's probably got a modest goal, but I think it would make things a bit easier. So
yeah, I guess contracts or retainers, I guess that's another thing.
That's it, retainers, that's the word. Having those instead of just lots of one-off jobs where you're not sure what's coming and going. That would be great if we could be a bit more like that.
Fantastic.